Ever get that feeling? Like a place has secrets, like something happened there. You can just tell.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Those spaces, those stories that just sort of linger.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the vibe I'm getting from Caddo Lake, this new thriller on HBO Max. And lucky for you guys, today we're doing a deep dive into its IMDb page. We've got some user reviews lined up too. It'll be like a cheat sheet before you watch, without any spoilers or anything.
Definitely a good call, especially with a movie like this one. It sounds like it's shrouded in mystery. At least that's the impression I'm getting from the reviews.
For real, it's brand new too. Dropped October 10th. It's PG-13, runs for an hour and 39 minutes. I actually kind of like that for a thriller. Enough to build the suspense, but not so long that it drags.
I agree, 100%. Pacing is key in this genre. Speaking of keeping things interesting, I'm looking at the IMDb ratings now, and it's sitting at a 6.9 out of 10.
Okay, so above average then.
Definitely solid.
But those numbers don't tell the whole story, do they?
Nope, not even close. That's where the reviews get interesting. We get to hear from the people who actually saw it, right? And there are some seriously mixed reactions to this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some people are calling it highly original. Love the twists, the unexpected turns. Others, though, not so much. Some found it too convoluted, too hard to follow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one review mentioned that it was just too confusing and the ending was kind of a letdown. So, like, what gives? Why are people reacting so differently to this film?
Well, think about it. It's a thriller.
Right.
It's all about keeping you guessing.
Yeah.
And this one, Caddo Lake, it's designed to be open-ended. It lets you interpret things your own way, which, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a risk.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And speaking of keeping people on edge, a bunch of the reviewers are comparing it to that show Dark, the one on Netflix.
Oh, interesting. Now that's a fascinating comparison. For anyone who hasn't seen it, and no spoilers, Dark plays with your mind, like really messes with your perception of time and memory. Events are connected in ways you wouldn't expect. So for people to be comparing Caddo Lake to Dark, it definitely makes you think maybe this movie is going there too.
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, they're giving us these little hints, like something bigger is going on. They're not just mentioning Dark in passing either. They're saying stuff like two stories running parallel, mind-blowing concept, things like that. Oh, and someone even said you'd have to watch it twice to understand everything.
It's like they want you to figure it out, but then, oh wait, there's another piece of the puzzle you didn't even see. And that's where the whole Dark thing gets even more interesting.
Right, because Dark isn't just about time travel, is it? It's about the consequences of choices, how they ripple through time, and how that impacts everything, the past, the present, the future, all tied together. I wonder, do you think that's what we're seeing in Caddo Lake too?
It sure seems like it. One review I'm looking at here talks about this mind-blowing concept they're doing. And it's all about, like, interconnected destinies, like these characters' lives. They're all woven together somehow, across different generations even. It's wild.
Wow. Okay, so we're not just dealing with a simple thriller here. This is getting deep.
Right. And it's not just about the thrills either. Another review, this one really got to the emotional core of the film. They said it really dives into grief, how trauma can have a ripple effect. It's not just about what happens, but how it changes people.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of the reviewers are saying similar things. Like, it's more than just a mystery, it's a story about family, too. One review even called it a chilling mystery inside a familial story.
And I think that's where Caddo Lake might really stand out. Because you've got that classic thriller hook, right? Disappearance, Caddo Lake, legends and stuff. But then it zooms in on the family at the heart of it all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, imagine that. Your daughter just gone, vanished. It would rip a family apart. But then you're also forced to deal with everything you've been pushing down. The fear, the secrets.
Exactly. It's like the disappearance, it becomes this catalyst, exposing all the cracks that were already there. It makes you reevaluate everything, yourself, your relationships, everything you thought you knew. And it sounds like Caddo Lake doesn't shy away from that. It gets raw, uncomfortable. Those really honest moments between family members, that's where the real power of this film seems to be.
So we've got suspense, family drama, and maybe even a little time-bending weirdness thrown in for good measure.
Oh.
And we can't forget about Dylan O'Brien.
Ah, yes, of course. The Dylan O'Brien factor. He definitely brings a certain energy. Fans are going to be excited, that's for sure. Especially the ones who've been following him since, like Teen Wolf and The Maze Runner, all that.
Right. He's got range. People know he can act. But what about this role? Does he pull it off in Caddo Lake?
Well, everyone seems to agree this is different for him. Darker. More nuanced.
Wow, so he's like adding another whole dimension to this. I gotta say, going into this, I thought we were looking at a pretty standard thriller, but the
Mhm.
more we talk about it, the more it seems like Caddo Lake is in a category of its own.
Yeah, it really does feel that way. Like it's got the suspense, the family stuff, maybe even a touch of sci-fi or supernatural even. With the whole dark comparison, it's almost like they took all these familiar thriller things, but then like put them through a blender. You know what I mean?
100%. And I think that's why it's so cool. It's not just one thing, so you get hit with all these different emotions and it makes you think. Like, I bet this is one of those movies that you just keep thinking about long after it's over. Then you got to talk to someone about it, dissect every little thing.
Totally. And from the sounds of these reviews, people are definitely having those
Yeah.
conversations, which makes sense, right? They're practically begging you to put the pieces together to deal with the mystery of it all, like what's real, what's not, both with Caddo Lake and with the family.
Ugh, so good. Well, I think it's safe to say we've paddled our way through this one. So what do you think? Are you intrigued? Ready to dive headfirst into Caddo Lake?
You tell me. But one thing's for sure, Caddo Lake is more than just your average thriller. We've got family drama, we've got mysteries upon mysteries, and just a touch of the unexplained, all set against this, like, eerie backdrop of Caddo Lake itself. What's not to love?
And on that note, happy watching, everyone.